What's up? Welcome to another episode of Cultivator of Weird. We got Nat Rogachevsky in the building. Welcome to the show, brother.
Thanks. Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Nicholas Sapaglia here with us. There it is. The beautiful Nick Corey, producing from afar.
Yes.
Hello. How we doing?
Hello.
Welcome to the show, dude.
Thanks, man. It's
Hell
good
yeah.
to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you.
Thank you, dude. I like it. I've spent many a day in this living room, just not with all this stuff.
Yeah, not recently though, right?
That's true.
You getting a little too big for us?
No, I just don't. I don't.
Yeah, it's a pretty small house.
I don't spend time.
Damn.
All of my free time is like on my couch playing Mario Kart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got the lady and the dog, and it's like that's it.
Dude, you have probably the cutest fucking dog.
Yeah, he's good.
Norm is literally the sweetest.
Yeah, he's a pretty special dude, and actually, he makes an appearance in the sketch show.
Let's go.
Oh, nice.
Because his Norm's grandma, my future mother-in-law, made pajamas that have Norm's face on them,
Amazing.
and I wear them in actually a couple of things.
Yeah. Dude, you know what you guys should get? Have you seen those the ads for the fucking royalty? Like you send them a picture of your dog and they dress it like a Victorian fucking like prince.
Yeah.
And they send it back to you.
Yeah, so Tara made those for her sister's dog.
They're so sick.
Yeah, they're really sick. I thought you were going to talk about like that shit where you like buy a piece of land in Scotland and they make you a sir.
Lord.
For my dog.
Yeah, they make
Lord Norm McDonald,
Lord
the dog.
Norm.
Yeah. That'd be pretty sick.
He would definitely own slaves. So talking about your
For sure.
you like kind of breezed over it, but that was like one of the main reasons I wanted to fucking chat with you, dude. I've seen some cutaway pics.
Yeah.
And like a little bit, I think you showed me a couple of clips, but like the sketch show looks fucking epic.
Thanks, man.
I'm
We're
hyped.
really excited about it. Quickly run through. It's me, Fuzzy Kilgee, and Nick Cox, two super talented comics and writers. And we put this thing together. We're calling it a TV sketch show. We're releasing the first episode January 3rd. And the episodes are going to be like 7 to 10 minutes long, 5 to 6 sketches in an episode. We're having a release party at the Creek in the Cave January 3rd.
Fuck yeah.
Where we're doing stand-up, everyone who's involved with the show, like per episode, as well as the screening of the first episode. So we're super stoked about it. And our fourth member is, I don't know if you guys know Nick Barr. He like films, like he used to film the news live show at Creek and everything like that. And he's just like the super duper talented director and videographer and editor and like just a huge fan of comedy. Essentially just like believed in our shit. And he was like, I'll put the whole thing together.
Hell yeah.
So it's super, so like he's a professional filmmaker. So, and he's super funny. So it's creative. And it's fucking sick. We're super, super stoked about the finished product. The shit is funny as shit. And when you see it all done, you're like, oh, I didn't know I could like make stuff like that.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think one of the main things you realize anytime you get into, like, production of any kind and, like, wrangling people, especially comics, like, how fucking hard was that shit? Like, did you end the first day of shooting the first episode and went, holy fuck, this is going to be way harder than I thought?
So I'd filmed a little bit of sketch before. I had a good understanding of, like, the actual challenges in filmmaking. I knew that, like, my buddy Rob McDonald, who I used to shoot sketches with, super talented filmmaker. He's like a Harvard Film School dude.
Shout out to Bobby Mack.
Yeah, shout out Tiz Macdo on Instagram. Super, I mean, he's putting out good shit. But his whole thing is like 7-8 times throughout the shoot, he'd be like, guys, it's football, not rugby. And he just kept saying it. We're like, all right, I get it, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it's a real thing, and especially with comics. Getting everybody together, getting everybody like focused on getting the task done is super difficult. And I think that I'm probably more than anybody was the dude. It would be like me and our producer Nick, who really like tried to keep things on the guardrail because it'd be so easy to just be like in the middle of a take and like not having got the shot and be like, oh my god, did you see this?
Yeah.
Like, It was so bad. It would drive me nuts.
For sure. I mean, but you got a bunch of fucking wild ADHD kids trying to fucking put a show together.
For the same reason that it was difficult, the product was good.
Of course.
Because they're all funny.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's tough to get funny guys kind of like on the straight and narrow to make something.
Yeah. And the craziest ones are always like the most out there and like tough to wrangle, give you the best shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. I remember we got Miles involved with a thing and we sent him the script in advance and he shows up and he's like, I don't like this. I'm not going to do it. And we're like, that's the thing. Like, it wasn't like, I was like, we're not like asking for your like creative direction here.
Sure.
So we had to like reshoot with somebody else.
That's fucking ridiculous.
It was crazy. It was bananas. I couldn't believe it.
He was just like, I'm not.
He was like, I'm not feeling this.
Huh.
And I was like, that's fine. You know what I mean?
Well, better to have that happen than fucking take it on and half-ass it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or like phone it in.
So then that became something that we were like conscious of in later episodes where we would think about having somebody on and we'd be like, I don't know if this is the guy just because we actually have to get this done.
Mm-hmm.
As funny as we think they would be.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But
That's rough, man. I'm fucking psyched to see it though.
I can't wait, dude. We're like, we got like 4 episodes like in the tank ready to go. We'll probably be like a 6-episode season. We've got most of the rest of the season written out and ready to shoot. We're like starting like a TikTok campaign and an Instagram campaign to really push this release, funnel everything into the YouTube January 3rd. And I'll have some, I don't know if I can put together, but I've got a couple of film TikToks that we're just waiting to release that I think they're very funny.
Hell yeah.
TV sketch show and all. Platform.
We'll drop links in.
Cheers.
Yeah, whenever we get them.
Cheers.
And
yeah.
try and pump it up.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, dude.
Very much.
Fuck yeah. All 12 people.
Yeah. Dude, I'll push this fucking thing. I don't care. It's like, it's rare. Like, you know, you'll write a joke, you like it, and then 3 weeks later you're like, that joke sucks, I hate it, and I hate everything I've ever done. But I don't feel this way about the sketches.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
I mean, you'll get to a point, I think, down the road where you look back, but it's, I mean, and that happens with everything, you know? Like, when you're fucking 12 and you draw something with the correct proportions for the first time, you're like, I'm a fucking genius.
Yeah.
And you look back at that shit now and you're like, that is trash.
Totally. And then also, I'm not saying these sketches 4 times a night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't have that. Isn't it so crazy, though, that you write a joke, it works like 3 times a night, doesn't work the 4th time, you're like, that joke sucks.
Yeah. You just want to fucking step on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
What are you gonna do? Nick, do you talk or are you just on
I'm listening to it. I'm just helping out with the soundboard, chilling. I'm just listening.
That's cool. Do you jump in like every like 4 or 5 minutes with like a zinger, or is that not your place?
No, he'll drop a hot one every once in a while.
Yeah, I'll just wait for my opportunity.
You just fart in the mic.
I'm also not used to like not having Mason here talking over everybody, you know, like the whole time. So I'm like,
Isn't it weird?
Dude, when he gets fired up about shit, it's very like it has insane like cocaine energy.
it's wild.
He just goes off.
Have you been able to like keep him off of soundboards, or he's still really a master of that?
That's why he's in control
he
of
gets
it now.
mad because I don't do it enough.
Yeah, it should be a criminal offense to have him in front of a soundboard.
Yeah, no, he'll like pull my headphones. Like just earlier today, we were sitting here and we had Michael Ridley on the thing, and he's like, we're doing the intros, and he like takes his headphones off.
Do the gong.
Do
the Chinese gong. Did he really do it?
He really did it. Yeah. But the funny thing was like. He's trying to make it so Michael couldn't hear it, but I'm sitting right here. He whispers but talks right into the microphone, and Michael's like sitting right here. And then finally, like he goes, Michael Ridley, and I hit the gong for him, and then Michael laughs, and then Mason laughs, and it was just a great time. It was like in the first 30 seconds.
Yeah, he's allergic to momentum. Yeah. Mason Smith.
Dude, there's a sound clip on this. There's a button on the soundboard that has the teacher from South Park with the bells. Retard alert. Retard. The second I did that, the first time that we did a podcast, oh dude, I need that. Oh, I gotta have that. And then he asked me to do it like 6 more times in the episode, and I was like, it stopped being funny 3 ago. Right. I can't.
Yeah, he killed the baby.
Yeah.
I get it. I've been telling Mason this for, I don't know, like 2 years. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And then his argument is like, hey, listen, you do your thing, I'll do mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
yeah.
I'm like, it's not going. Well, it's like it doesn't sound good in your ears.
Yeah.
I'm not like fucking with you for no reason,
dude. He's stubborn. He's got his way.
Yeah,
you ain't gonna change his mind.
Yeah, he's a desert guy.
I don't know. Our episode's been pretty good though.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Fun and like I keep him on track a little bit. So.
Yeah. Do you ever like?
Absolutely, all the time. He says shit and I just like laugh directly in his face and says.
Now let me ask you this: Can you do it so that he thinks he's being recorded but he's not? Do you have that power?
I mean, you can definitely. He's sitting in front of the soundboard.
Can you, like,
he
mute
can
his
turn
mic?
his mic down. Yeah.
You should mute his mic every time you see Mason do this.
Oh yeah.
Just mute his mic real quick.
Yeah.
And then when he's done, you just unmute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, the ADHD only child fucking hand rub is such a signature move. Everybody grew up with a kid that did that. You knew something weird was about to fucking happen.
Yeah, I had to unlearn that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was
You gotta break yourself.
11, yeah.
That's when you're just scheming, you know.
For sure.
Yeah.
You're coming up with some fucking madness.
Yeah, but the problem is, in terms of, at least in the scope of his podcast, this is always followed by faggot.
Yeah.
Like that's, you know what I mean? It's not like...
It's generally that or the N-word or calling...
Has he been dropping N-bombs on the pod?
No. I'm just fucking around.
Yeah.
He comes close.
Mason, we love you, and this is for you.
Damn, it really do be beautiful outside right now. But you know what? It's not beautifuler than. It's not better beautifuler than you.
What's that? His aunt?
That's an actual recording of him when he was 10.
Yeah.
You're lying.
I'm dead serious.
Are you serious? You're fucking. That's crazy,
dude. I was thinking about this earlier today. Because we were having a conversation last night, and I don't know why it popped in my head. I think it's because you said you were, you like announced that you were 5 years sober, and it's like an intro to one of your bits. Yeah, and I was like, it's so crazy to me. Like, I kind of selfishly want like a 24-hour time machine day with Wild Man Nat.
Oh yeah.
I just want to know what it looks like, because you're very much like therapist's office, but you're in the big chair. You know what I mean? That's the energy you have. Like,
Thank you.
calm, cool, collected, kind of like always has it together, very methodical. And like, I see how you could be an absolute nightmare of a person on drugs.
Yeah.
Like, fun, but also like takes it too far after a certain point. Cause it's like, you're one of those personalities that's like all or nothing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what it is. So if it's going to be fucking like flying off the rails doing acid, it's like, all right, how many more drugs can we get our hands on tonight?
I was the guy that like everybody wanted to have around, but they had to have like a really serious conversation before they invited me. You know what I mean? And a lot of times they're like, my mom's gonna be there. Like, I can't. You know what I mean? It would be that kind of thing very much so. It would be like the bit would start funny, and they'd be like, all right, that's enough. I'd be like, no, we gotta keep it going.
Yeah.
And then it was pretty rough. I was always making people laugh, and I was always like the guy. I said this a lot of times when I wasn't sorry. I'd be like, everyone was thinking it. That was the thing I would say all the time.
I just said it.
Yeah.
I just said you are all with it, and it's like, yeah, that's part of being a fucking human being.
Is keeping it inside.
Yeah.
I wasn't capable of that. It was a nightmare, dude. I remember Mason always tells a story about we went to the mall this one time. I forgot to buy like baggies at the one place that sold like baggies. Other than having to go online, and I was high on dope, and I was jumping on strangers. I don't know, and I was like, "Isn't this a funny bit?"
Piggybacks.
Yeah, I was like, "Funny bit, jumping on strangers." No one's like filming anything. No one's like, we're not putting content out.
Yeah.
I'm just being a madman.
This is not Jackass. These are human beings.
Yeah,
That's hilarious, though.
And I was big on if someone wronged me or I felt like I'd been disrespected, I was big on like, all right, then fuck you.
Yeah.
Like out loud all the time.
Sure.
People, like, you know what I mean? Like I just didn't keep any of it in. And then now what I do is I wait till there's someone I don't respect, and then I quietly eviscerate them to all their friends. That's what I do. I turn people against. I'll bring up a guy and I go, what do you think about X, Y, or Z? And they go, yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I'm like, did you know they did this? That's what I like to do now.
Dude, you know Colin's thing is he convinces people that
someone died
and they haven't. Right. And he tries to spread it around until it gets back to him from somebody else.
Yeah.
It's pretty fucking genius.
Yeah. I like to get deep into the psyche of a man.
Yeah.
For example, let's say somebody who's like a decent dude starts booking a show and they just start getting dickish, and everyone goes, yeah, but he's like a good guy. That's like one, like, you know what I mean? I go, no, that's indicative that they're weak. I'll be like, no, he was never a good guy. Now he's had the opportunity to have some power. Wait till he gets a little bit more. He'll be unbearable.
Oh, you get medieval.
Yeah. And I go, because that's how I feel.
Yeah, sure.
And I go, it's easy to be a good guy when you have nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's easy to be a good guy when and now you haven't earned any respect.
Yep.
But you've created a place where people need things from you. Mm-hmm. And now you feel the liberty to be rude and dismissive. Yeah. It means you're weak. And I'll see what you just did. I'll do that with their friends. That's what I'll do.
I legitimately and people, you see this all the time, but people make the excuse that like they're not being assholes genuinely. Like people just get busy and then they stop caring as much, and it's like, all right, I could give a pass for that.
Of course,
like
that's reasonable.
Of course, and I think if the do nothing folk would call that like asshole dickish behavior, like being dismissive, and it's like no, you wouldn't even realize that was happening if you had more shit going on.
Absolutely,
100%. That's why you're focusing on it. If
your days were full,
100%.
I agree with that. I agree with that completely. What else? I like to. My big philosophy, I've talked about this a lot, is I just like. I don't have the time for people who are like less than a B- overall. I barely have the patience for B-. You know what I mean?
How do you wait? How do you grade this?
You have to be very intelligent.
Okay.
I don't hang out with dummies.
Okay.
And this is just true. Like I legit don't hang out with dumb people because when I'm around them, I'm like, this sucks.
Sure.
And the thing is that we're exposed to so many crazy people.
Yeah.
That it is often we're not able to take a step back and be like, why am I like sharing energy with like a truly insane person?
100%.
And so a lot of people don't even recognize the amount of sickness they take back from a night out at open mic.
Fuck yeah.
And then you get home and your brain's all fried and you're like, why do I feel insane? It's like, well, you've been hanging out with fucking, you can bleep this, Pedro Valenzuela. Like, the guy's bananas.
Yeah.
And we're like, what's up? No, it's like, if that guy was in a regular context at the office, I'd like go like this when I was walking by his cubicle. You know what I mean? Like but please bleep this part, but that guy's so sick in the head. So anyway, that kind of stuff. And we go, so they have to be like really funny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I just don't have the time to not like have fun with the people that I'm sharing my energy and time with. Like, who has the time? So whenever I remember a buddy of mine, Dan Pikowski, pointed this out, where I had a friend group that I'd hang out with. We do drugs together. And he was like, all your friends are faggots. This one dude that I hung out with. And I was like, I don't really feel that way.
Dude, how funny was it last night at the mic at San Jack when there was this one black dude at the mic in the corner at the bar, and he had his head in his hands for like the first three comics, and he looks up at me and Nat at one point after like the fourth guy goes up and does a gay joke, and he goes, so all y'all gay, huh?
It was so
I was like, oh my God.
It was great.
It was a perfect moment. It was like, absolutely perfect.
But so that's one thing that I'm guilty of is I get really disgruntled at open mics. I get really like I just can't deal with it. The amount of unlistenable comedy and the amount of just crazy people that I have to hear their opinions on stuff.
Yeah.
Or the amount of just like hack material. Like, so you ever hear someone say some hacky shit and you're like, how did you not nip that in the bud in the editing room?
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You text someone. Text someone and be like, is this worth saying out loud?
Yeah.
Or should I like never let anyone hear this?
Run it by a friend.
Right.
So, yeah, phone a buddy.
That's what I do with you. I send you stuff.
Absolutely. And I'm honest. I'm like, I like this part, not that part.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it works.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And like you're confident enough in your joke writing ability that you're like, oh, he's not being rude to me.
Yeah, no.
You know? So you need buddies like that. So that's where when it's tough and like when you see people congregate. And so I just don't have I literally don't have the time or the mental bandwidth to be around people that I don't at least think are really funny. And
sure.
I have friends who are comics that aren't like quite there yet with material and that's fine because but if I don't think that they can, I don't, you know what I mean? Like,
sure.
And I'm kind to everybody. I can be not nice, but I'm kind to everybody.
Yeah.
I'm not like abhorrent to people.
I think at the end of the day, like the one saving grace that you can just have as a human being is just you don't have to be a dick. you can just not
Yes,
say
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
I mean, like, I don't know. I feel like there are people that go out of their way to be assholes, and it's like, that guy's already having a hard time. Yeah, he's a fucking dummy. But you can just not acknowledge him. You don't have to go out of your way to be a fucking cunt to the guy.
I've had comics when I'll have comics and I'll go up to them and I'll be like, that was a great joke. And they'll be like, thank you. For some reason, I thought you didn't like me. And I'm like, why? And they're like, well, you never talked to me. I'm like, why would I talk to you? There's 700 people here.
Yeah.
I have like close friends that I've put through like a fine filtering system and let all the sediment fall through the cracks. And these like, I only have so much time. Why? I told you I have a great joke because I believe that. It doesn't. That's all it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's, I don't know. And so that's a great thing. And so,
dude, there's definitely a handful. I mean, like that's just another example of crazy.
Yeah.
That's legitimately just a person that needs a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people just need to be told that everything's going to be all right. And it's like, well, you need to grow the fuck up.
Yeah.
Handle your own shit.
And you know, it's like,
or call BetterHelp.
And I recognize how pretentious this all sounds, but it allows me to like go to sleep at night. I don't think that if I just allowed myself to be like fully exposed and open to all of these fucking nut jobs that, and this is not just in our scene. It's like, comedy is notoriously full of insane people.
Yeah.
So it's like, why?
Dude, we were talking last night about that Patton bit.
Yeah.
The fucking heroin addict
Fantastic.
falls asleep in the middle of one bit and wakes up and finishes another bit.
Yeah.
And then he acts it out. It's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
But it like at its core is, if you've ever spent any time at open mics, is 1,000% correct.
Yeah.
You're just gonna get at least 20 to 30 minutes of that.
Yeah.
Every time.
And I think that there's here in Austin, there's some real pluses and minuses to being a new scene. So on the plus side, there's a shit ton of really good self-produced shows. So I would argue that if you're new or green or just figuring out, it's a good place to be, because like you're gonna get some stage time. There are places that are so established, and there's so many established comics that like you're never gonna get up. You're just gonna stay at an open mic for a long time. Like you're never gonna get up.
You were just in New York, right?
I was just in New York. I was watching.
How was that?
I was watching dudes that I thought were like legit funnier than me. Be like, so where do you normally work? And they're like, I'm not really past at any of the. Like, I don't really get up. I'm just kind of open micing.
Sure.
And I'm like, I legit think you're better at comedy than I am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
And so that was awesome to see, because anyone who was actually doing it worked so hard and was just spending most of their time that they had like writing jokes and performing. And no one was really, at least, I guess water finds level, so I just naturally gravitated towards those kind of people. But every time, like, no one is like hanging out and getting drinks at the club after their spot. They're either going home to get an early night because they have work, and then they want to have the energy to write. And it was like, it just seemed like the way I feel about comedy.
Sure.
Was a more shared opinion. Whereas so to get into the downside of the scene here, everyone's just kind of fucking around. And that's it. And then because there's so many people fucking around, you got a group of like 10, 12 dog shit comics. You tell some jokes where the punchline is like poop, and they're like, that was so funny. You ever do an open mic and the part that's not supposed to work works, but it's like the edgy part, and you're like, that sucks.
Yeah, sure.
That's the worst. That's to me the worst feeling ever.
Yeah.
When I'm working on some shit and those same 10 to 12 dog shit comics are like, Chinaman, and you're like, that joke's bad.
Yeah.
I now know that joke's bad because you liked it.
Sure.
Yeah. I used to do that like when I was working in the restaurants. Like I would like smoke a bowl and drive to work. And on that like 10, 12 minute drive to work, I would just like zone out in the car and think of jokes. And then I would go and tell certain people at work the same joke. To all the cooks, because they're out there like they love all the dark shit. Go tell certain like people, like coworkers, servers, bartenders, and depending on their reaction, like if someone, like one person was like, "Man, that's fucking stupid," I was like, "That's gonna work every time."
Yeah.
That's
It's the Pepsi challenge.
And then it was like,
that guy's an
and
asshole.
someone was like, "Oh yeah, that was good." I'm like, "I don't know if that is that."
Yeah.
Like,
Totally.
but it was like, yeah, it was really fun. Like, it's like in the same concept, you know. It's just
Yeah. That's why, and then on the flip side, and I think a lot of people would say this, is that even if I don't really like fuck with somebody, if they tell a great joke, I'm going to tell them.
Sure.
Because I just love comedy. And so I've had this before where I go to someone and they're like,
you got to separate the art from the artist. Like, there's a lot of guys I would probably fucking hate.
and
right?
on top of that, it's like, this is funny. This is a funny analogy, but my buddy Dan, same dude that I told me all my friends suck, and he was right, was I remember when I first got sober, I was going through this like real like intense pacifism phase where I thought like no one should ever punch anybody. And I was talking to my buddy.
That's long gone now.
Right. And
oh, yeah.
And my buddy Dan, who we used to go out and just get into fights, we'd just go drink.
Dude, the fucking scale has gone all the way back around where you're like, we should just punch everyone.
Yeah.
Everybody's getting punched.
We should kill all bad comics.
This entire fucking scene needs to get hit in the face.
Dude, so this dude, we used to go and get drunk and get into fights with people, and he was telling me the story about how this dude like checked him at some club in Israel and then he knocked him out, and I was like, oh, you shouldn't have done that. And his argument was like, no, that's how society corrects itself. Like this dude was I gave him every opportunity to stop being a dickhead, and he didn't, and then he got fucked up.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I agree. And so to that same thing, when someone's doing good and they've kind of cracked it and they're really bad, I'll be like, that joke was awesome. You should make all of your jokes like that.
Yeah.
I'll be like, you shouldn't say any of the other things you've said before this ever again.
Sure.
And then you should just do that. Like, I tell people all the time that shit.
I mean, do you see it? I 100% agree with you. Like, there's so many people in the world that just never get told no, or they never get put in their place.
Yeah.
And I mean, being in New York for so long and working in bars, there was so many of these finance bros that would walk around with their chest out and be complete cunts to people. And then someone would legitimately punch them in the face, and you would watch them crumble as a man in front of everybody they knew. And they had one of those moments, I forget the movie, but where the guy gets hit in the face and he's like, "Why did you do that?"
Yeah.
It's like that. There is the alpha male just gets sucked right out of him. It's like a fucking vacuum.
Those guys are the reason
Those guys aren't alpha males.
No. But you feel what I'm saying? Like they project that energy all day because they're talking down to interns in their office and shitting on guys that work for them. And then they go home and they're probably a dick to their wife, but they rely on them for money. So there's never a fucking balance to their life. It's just this constant fucking...
Could you imagine being so situationally unaware that you were to talk that loud in any context?
It's
you know what
insane
I mean?
to me.
And it's crazy that's a meme of a person. Like everybody knows a bunch of those guys.
Yes.
And at no point has someone been like, hey, it's just like no one likes the way you act.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy to me that they still exist, even though it's like a literal meme that we make fun of all the time.
Do you know what bothers me almost more than the people that, like, overshoot? You just fart?
I did.
That's really nice. Thank you. You came to my house. You took a shit before we even
Immediately.
started the podcast. This is the first thing you did when you walked in an hour and 10 minutes late.
11.
Okay, I mean, I clarified with Chad that I'd be here at 6. I said 6:10.
And now you've shit twice.
Yeah.
Because every time you fart, a little bit of poop comes out.
Yeah.
Now, this is just science. Bill's fucking pumped. Even worse than the fucking loud talkers, it's another power move that these guys think. No. They talk a little like this, so you have to lean in to hear them. And if you don't, then you miss what they're saying.
Yeah.
And dude, it drives me fucking nuts. And these guys would come into a packed, loud bar and go, I'll have a tequila inside.
Yeah.
Why don't you just go, speak up?
No, that's what you do. And then they try and get mad at you. And I'm like, buddy, Captain Whispers.
Yeah.
If you don't fucking talk, I can't hear you.
Yeah.
Don't get pissed because you don't get what you want.
Yeah.
Like, speak. You're an adult.
Yeah.
Speak at a level where people can hear you.
Yeah, it's insane behavior. And I've many times I've been like, I'll wait till someone's done, and I'll be like, I didn't hear anything you said. I mean,
just let them finish.
And if and then if they go, and I go, all right, I gotta go, because it's like kind of been that important.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, good talk. And then,
yeah, I've done that where people come up. So it's like interesting. It's like funny. Like I'm this sober dude, and I watch because I think Austin's such a party town, and and that is true. within the comedy scene as well. There's a lot of hard partying happening.
Sure.
And I think the thing is, I don't know if that doesn't, I think there's probably a lot of drugs and alcohol within comedy, just generally speaking, of course. But other places just are less lame about, like...
Speaking of hitting people, do you feel like you 6 years ago, sitting where I am, would be sitting here listening to you say that and want to punch you in the face?
No.
No.
I think I would become very self-conscious hearing myself
Really?
talk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because most of the things that I complain about are things I've done.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So...
Well, they say the people that you tend to dislike the most
Are the
are
ones that remind you of
super
yourself.
similar to you. Yeah. You always, because it's like the most uncomfortable thing to be like presented with yourself.
Yes.
It's like listening to your voice on recording.
Oh, the worst.
It's the fucking worst.
And yeah, so I think I have like a soft spot. That's okay. I think I romanticize probably more a guy or like a couple dudes like quietly drinking and running bits and getting fucked up and having a good time in some like leather burgundy colored place.
Okay.
Like that's cool.
Like Sandjack, but if it was just that one section. Like,
yeah, like East Austin Comedy Club.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like a sexy, cool place. That's cool. Know how to party. I have nothing against partying. Know how to party. Know how to have a good time. Know when it's time to buy your friend a drink. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Know when it's right to be like, I got these.
Yeah.
Here it's like, bah! And everyone's just like, bah! And I'm like, ugh, you guys are all so lame. People I like when they're not fucked up. People that I legit like.
You're talking about me right now, aren't you?
No, not at all. I never thought you were in the hospitality industry. You understand all of these things.
So this is one thing I will say, and it was like a lesson that I learned really quickly here, and I kind of like keep it in my back pocket as something I've kind of like carried with me through all my travels.
Cowboys.
1,000%. Thank you.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Just say his name.
No,
Fine.
I can't do
say
it.
it.
Dude.
Come on, say it.
I can't do it, but there's a couple of them.
No, so legitimately, this is something that I've always traveled with. I will go out of my way to be generous when I first meet people. I will buy rounds, and I'll continue to do that. If it doesn't get reciprocated after the second time, you are cut off.
Yeah, of course.
I will literally buy a drink for someone in front of you.
Right.
I will hand it to them, and then look at you.
Right.
Just to let
This
you know.
is how it's done.
But most of the people, even when you do that, are so aloof, they're out of their mind that they don't even realize what's happening. They don't even get it.
Right.
I don't know if it's a sense of entitlement or what, or if they're just completely fucking naive and stupid.
It's both.
Probably. But I
I
can't stand that.
I was just shitting on him earlier. I was doing the podcast with Spencer and Fuzzy.
Uh-huh.
And I do in the group chat, I go, coffee? ? Spencer goes, I'm all right, buddy. Thank you. Fuzzy goes, small black. Are you out of your mind? Small black? No, please, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Are you fucking bananas, dude?
Yeah.
I got so mad. I was up. I almost flipped it when I saw him.
Fuck me, right? I just got demoted to intern on a show that I'm 1/3 of.
Small black? You're bananas.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like, and I think that the newness of the scene is a big part of, like, I was talking to Post about it, and everybody's just kind of like lost in the sauce. Because
Sure.
They're building the scene together. Oh, we're all part of it, and like da. But then there's no club system for someone to go, hey, it's not working out.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Whereas in a place that's more, and I hate to be the dude, even though I do really feel this way. I hate to be like, oh, dude, New York. I really do feel that way. Like, it's the best comedy in the world, and they're all really good. There's a system that lets you know if you have to change something. It becomes abundantly clear that your shit's not working because there's a lot of places to get up. And if you're not able to, like, of course, there's always going to be things. Maybe some club likes to book hot chicks more, or maybe some club is more urban. Like, yes, of course, there's always going to be like obstacles that are outside of your control. But if it's not, like, you know what I mean?
Sure.
There's always going to be an element of luck involved in, like, making it in a business like this. But, like, I think that there is a humility that is really necessary to be successful in a place like that, because it just beats you up so much.
Well, yeah. You're getting checked by some of the best people in the fucking world.
Right. And here, because we kind of are making it up as we go, people are like, oh, I'll be fine. And not doing any of the things that are just like absolutely necessary to be successful stand-up comics.
I mean, I think every place is going to have that, though. It'll develop to the point where there are people that end up being like the Patrices of Austin, probably.
Yeah.
And will legitimately throw a phone book at people and be like, read it.
Right.
Read it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Shit like that. Because those are defining moments in people's careers. Like, guys that are fucking stadium, like, sellout artists now.
Yeah.
That was done to them.
Yeah.
It's a learning moment. You feel like shit as you're living it. But that'll happen here, dude.
Yeah.
That'll happen. Just
I
know
think so.
I don't think anyone really. I think there's definitely a disparity in the levels here, and the big guys that are here that have moved here are too busy to fucking really like be around that and even give it bandwidth.
Right.
But as that middle area gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and a lot of this bullshit kind of falls off that you're talking about, you'll see that more.
I agree.
For sure.
I agree. That's why I'm like willing to invest a couple more years here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Are you going to go to New York ultimately? Yeah.
I got to.
How do you think Norm's going to feel about it?
He loved it.
Oh, shit. You brought him.
Yeah.
That's
he had
awesome.
the best time ever.
Hell yeah.
He was just overstimulated having the time of his life.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, we're really stoked. We gotta get him to a point where he's not just like screaming every time we leave the house.
Yeah.
He freaks out.
What was there like a standout moment when you were there where you were like, "This is fucking dope"?
Yeah,
we're doing it.
I do. So I remember
this little whorehouse in Chinatown.
No.
And the second she dug her heel into my ball sack,
so I remember
I lit up like a Roman candle.
I'm moving here.
We found it.
So I know whenever I go down to like San Antonio or Houston, you do a couple spots, and more or less, a lot of the locals are gonna go. You remember this? We went out together, and almost every time I've had at least a couple sets where they go, damn, bro, like, blah, 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 like, that was sick, like, nah. Everyone's getting your number. They're like, yo, next time you're in Houston, hit me up, dude. I got off a spot at the Grizzly Pear in New York, which is not considered an elite comedy club by any means. It's a decent little club on McDougal that people go to when they can't get into the cellar. And they cleaned it up a lot recently. It's really nice. I really like the room. It's kind of a kill box.
Sure.
The show's going. It was fun. No one was really crushing it, but everyone was having a good set. Laid it down. Brought like only the smoke. I kind of wanted to prove myself in front of like all these comics. I had maybe like 15% new material, but I was like really working. Just
how much time did you have?
10.
Oh, that's good.
Just a 10-minute.
That's
set,
enough.
Which is a lot there.
Sure.
A lot of sets are really short. Everyone's doing like the 10. What's the 10 here is like 8. You know? They give me 10. Cracked it. Had like but by a wide margin set of the night. And all the comics that regularly work that room afterwards, I'm like waiting for my flowers, and they're like, "Good set, nice, man.
Yeah,
glad to know that we can hang out." You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I loved it, and it was just like exactly what I need to do what I want to do. And when people would see me, like I'd met up with my buddy Severin, who's a very funny comic out there. He's out of Boston as well. Severin Remo, great dude. And to really consider your time management to be most conducive to you becoming a successful comic. And just the vast amount of people doing it and how little time they have for the casual hang.
Sure.
Was just really inspiring.
Sure.
And so then the question was like, how do I maintain this level that I, out of necessity, need to elevate to here? And that's really hard.
Sure.
Because it's just a slow town.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's really there's kind of no worse feeling than when you know you didn't do well.
Yeah.
And you get off stage.
Yeah.
And like there's 2 or 3 people that are like, yo, that was fucking cool. That was great. Yo, you crushed. And you're like, no, I didn't, dude. That was a full on bomb.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Right.
And then they want to hang out, and like you're saying, they want to hang out and just party and get drinks with you. And you're like, I didn't earn anything.
Right.
We didn't do anything tonight constructive. Why would I, unless you want to fucking pour water on your wounds. But like, yeah, it's a sleazy feeling. It stinks.
I like that no one gives a fuck about you out there. Like, it didn't, like, they don't.
It's, you know what? This is a misconception that a lot of people make. It's not that they don't give a fuck.
They don't have the time.
They don't have time.
Yeah. Well, that's really what I mean. It's like,
yeah.
They don't care who you open for.
And that's not just comics. The entire city is generally busy doing some other constructive thing. Either you're a creative or you're in, business or you're a marketing person, but you're on the move. Right. And when those people fucking shoulder check you running to the train, it's because they're fucking late for their job.
Right.
And they have to do this every fucking morning. You're fighting literally 300,000 people.
Yeah.
Down the sidewalk to get where you need to go.
Let me ask you this. Do you feel like your energy levels are higher in the city?
Way, way, way up.
Isn't it crazy? Just the life brings you up.
I was listening to, what's his fucking name? Laird Hamilton talk about this. He actually did research, because when he was in the city early on, when he was like a fucking, swimwear model or whatever, he's like a big wave surfer, you know what I'm talking about? He actually researched this shit, and he said that psychologically, because we're not built to really fucking deal, like our brains aren't built to deal with those giant fucking buildings around you all the time, you immediately, when you're in that situation, enter like a fight or flight mode. And you don't even know it, right? That's fucking crazy. These fucking animals.
Animals. He's got a back door.
Fucking animals.
He's got a back door.
We tried.
There's no respect.
Yeah, I that's true.
Yeah.
And,
I've never been to New York, so I want to go though.
You'd like it a lot.
Dude, you gotta go. It's fucking incredible.
Also, you're like you're what they want. They want just jokes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Nice.
Crowds are better. Crowds are way better. I remember I was writing this stuff about the lack of empathy that people have, like for homeless people, and people get like offended when I would do that stuff here, and then they like really liked it.
Yeah.
In New York, I was trying to figure out why it was. There's like, well, they can take jokes about themselves. No one can take jokes about themselves here because it's the same corny tech white guy repeating himself over and over again.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And he's already too sensitive to move in a place where you can actually be the top of the top.
Yeah.
This is a slacker city. This is where you go where you don't like really want to make it. You know what I mean?
Oh damn.
It's true. It's just true. I came here. I came here because I've been doing comedy for 3 months when I came.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that it matters the amount of time or anything like that, but and I did buy in and believe in the dream of the place being built.
Yeah.
And that's one thing. And I don't think it's necessarily true for like comedy always, but like for most industries, this is not a hub.
Yeah.
This is not a place where you can be the creme de la creme, where you can advance and get to the VP level. This is just like a place where you go, you're like, yeah, I mean, the rent's a little bit cheaper. It's like, whatever. Like, I don't have to pay premium to be on a beach. And, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, I don't really understand what the appeal is other than, like, the only thing that's, like, actually...
For, like, general people or comics moving here?
General people.
General people.
Yeah.
I mean, I legitimately feel like people were moving away from cities and places because of the pandemic.
Yes.
That was, like, a giant push.
Yes.
And... You know, if you're somebody that lived in New York and you still want to be in a big city, and dude, if you moved here and you could afford a brownstone in New York, you own a mansion now in Texas.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean?
Yes.
And those people in general couldn't care less, could give a fuck less about the city.
Right.
They were there for the status or because their job was there or their family was there or whatever. They don't give a fuck about New York.
Yes.
Really.
That's... fair.
They're not going to the fucking Queens to get, you know.
Basically, what I mean is, I feel like this town is full of losers, and people who don't want it.
Sure.
You know what I mean? In general, but and I still think that's true.
Can you just name a few?
No.
Off the top of your head?
I just think that
Chad
like,
J, Nicholas Paglia.
Mariano Di Vincenzo.
Yeah, there he is.
And he thinks I can't see him, but he's in the shot.
Yeah.
But so, it's, I don't know, it's like, I just found it really interesting that people couldn't take. And again, again, like, the stuff was not like super worked. It wasn't some like primo material where I'm like, you guys just don't get it. But I literally was like starting to work it. I wrote it in New York, brought it back, and it just instantly didn't work. And the whole joke, it's like not even very good. So I'm not like pretending that like you guys are just too dumb. But the joke is like, and you know, you change the structure depending on the place, but it's like, you know, people in Austin find the homeless situation to be pretty annoying. And I guess that's true. You know what I find it to be? Sad. You heartless monsters.
Sure.
And that's just like the opening to the bit, and that like works instantly because it's like an obvious angle.
Yeah.
And people here are legit like, what? No.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
And also like, I don't know.
There's so many fucking. This is what drives me nuts about this place in particular, because like in New York, there are people that are legitimately like social justice assholes.
horrible.
But they probably grew up in a position or have lived a life that necessitates them being that way.
Right.
They have a write-off.
Right.
These fucking cunts, the entitled ones that live here and want to get upset at a mic or a show when you say something that bothers them, it's literally the most paper-thin fucking... And most of the time, if you talk to them, they couldn't explain to you why to save their life.
Dude,
It annoys the fucking tits off me.
It's weird. I didn't think it would be like going in dry. I didn't think it would be like that because like I always thought like that, like New Yorkers would be more sensitive, but they're just not. They have a better understanding of what's a joke and what's not.
Of course.
Which is strange, and I don't really know why that is. Like the natural assumption would be just level of intelligence and awareness.
I think it's also like when you are constantly dealing with like, if your daily commute, you're seeing like homeless dudes shitting their pants on a fucking stoop on your way to work.
Yeah.
Some guy saying Jew or faggot on stage is not gonna really bum you out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's true.
Which we should do more. It should be celebrated.
I think, but the thing is that they
say it.
Jew and faggot, but they like
appreciate it.
They like, I don't know. It's this fine line where if it's like this party kind of dirty shit, they love it here. They love the party dirty shit. They like jokes making fun of Jews, but then if you do any stuff that talks about like actually being Jewish, they don't get it because they don't know any Jews.
Sure.
I've talked to a couple comics about this where they're like, if the punchline is Jew, game on.
Yeah.
But if you start talking about like what a Jew is, everyone's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I legitimately had to, you know, when you're like going back through your shit and you're like watching it and you go, oh, there's like a nervous thing when you're really early on. You might say fuck 1,000 times in your set or
The filler words
yes.
that are bad. Yeah.
So anything that I think of, even if it's fucking amazing and I love it and it has anything to do with psychedelics, I'm like, I can't do it. Because it's been beaten to death by everyone. It's like every fucking person has a fucking a bit about doing mushrooms or acid or fucking ketamine. Like, and some of these fucking jokes are really good.
Yeah.
And you're working them for a while and you love them.
Yeah.
But then you hear 5 other people do one and you're like, that fucking stinks.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, it's considered, you know, I mean, in general, like drug stuff is considered done. And if you can work a really fresh angle on it, power to it. But it's a lot of the times just one of the first places we go.
I'm kind of surprised you don't talk about that shit more.
But I'm struggling. I don't think I'm good enough as a writer or a comic to find the funny in, like, every time I allude to my recovery, I allude to my sobriety. Most of the jokes that I do about it never really get into my sobriety.
Okay.
I talk about, I've got like 4 weed jokes that are all anti-weed jokes. And like, and talking about the like less talked about part.
Sorry.
Yeah. And then I have, my only psychedelics joke is when people make the comparison to having a life-changing experience on psychedelics. And my retort is that like, when I smoked crack with homeless people on a daily basis, that was a life-changing experience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I don't have any stuff that's like, I just did some shit that was crazy. But I want to. I've tried to crack it open. But every time I, like, get there, I just can't quite get to that relatable funny place. Because the shit that I think is funny about it, it's one of those things where I have to fall on my sword.
Yeah.
Because when I think about...
I mean, just the sentence, when I smoke crack with homeless people, is kind of hilarious.
Right. And that joke's work, because the joke is really like, you always have that one.
And if you were,
like,
especially if you were like midway through your set,
right,
people look at you and the way that you sound and the shit that you talk about, like.
So the bit is like I'm in recovery, but I think people who aren't alcoholics should try psychedelics at least once, and the crack goes crazy. And you go, just do me a favor, don't be that guy who's like a dick their whole life, takes acid one time, and then starts to tell me about like the bigger picture.
Sure.
You got that one buddy who's like, oh, dude, I used to smoke. Dude, we fucking did some acid in the desert.
Mm-hmm.
Changed my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I smoked crack with homeless people. Changed my life.
Yeah.
Different, but life-changing.
For sure.
And so that stuff works, and it's like funny, it's like
I got chlamydia from a family of rats.
Right.
That'll change your week.
Yeah, instead of trippy visuals, I got hepatitis.
Yeah, you ever wake up and half your thumb is gone?
Right. And so, and you didn't just imagine it?
Yeah.
But so...
I was hungry.
Like, that kind of shit is good. like, it's like, I just think that, okay, for example, I think this is so funny, but nobody else does. On my birthday, me and Mason and our buddy Phil went to this bar called the Silhouette in Allston, and we got good and fucked up. And everybody's like, "What do you want for your birthday? Like, what do you want to do? It's your night." And I was like, "I want to smoke crack."
Yeah.
And everybody was like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's what I want to do."
Hey, you guys brought it up.
Right.
This is your fucking idea.
And Mason's like, "Where are we gonna get crack at this hour?" I was like, "This is the hour to get crack."
I love that his question was, "Where are we gonna get it?"
Right. He was like, "How would we even do it?"
He is the number one roll dog.
We were also driving his ex-wife's fucking nice ass Benz around that night. And
I was like, I don't know if I want to do that.
We've never met, but you seem awesome.
And so, and I'm relentless, so I'm like, I'll find it.
Yeah.
Like, we'll get it. And I also like that Mason's question with it was that it was like a bit late.
Yeah.
As if that's not like exactly when crackheads are up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and so,
I mean, it's past dusk. You feel like we got a good shot?
And dude, it's the thing is that most people, like, as you guys as comics, get why it's funny in general. But most people are like, that's sad.
Yeah.
Which it is. It is super sad that I could have anything I want. I just want to smoke crack. I would be fine doing it alone. You know what I mean? Like, and so that's the part that would love to be skilled enough to translate.
Sure.
And I don't think I have the skill yet.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't believe that I'm like good enough to get into that human nature thing of like what is so sickly funny about addiction and alcohol, because I really do think it's so funny.
It's almost better to have that self-awareness instead of putting together a bunch of hacky shit and trying to fling that out, you know.
That's where I'm at. So a lot of times I'll like return to stuff that I like just barely wrote, and sometimes I can squeeze something out of it, but I always like return to stuff and see if I'm a good enough writer to talk about it. So
based on what you just said, I didn't want to beat it too much because I feel like you probably talked about it a gajillion fucking times. I would love just like one good smoking crack story. There has to be a standout.
Yeah, there is.
Because I've never smoked crack. Everybody I've talked to is like, you probably shouldn't. But it's pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So it's sick. It feels mad good. It's better than Coke by a lot.
Yeah.
And other than when you can like once in it, like it doesn't exist anymore. But
have you ever smoked crack?
No.
Okay.
When you can find
throw that to your mustache.
When you can find like elite levels of cocaine, which Mason used to be able to get, I don't know what happened, but then it's pretty sweet.
I moved.
Yeah. So
it's insane to me that we're this close to Mexico and you can get better Coke in New York and Boston.
Not true.
Anyway, but I'll tell you this.
It's true for New York.
So this was crazy. I'm trying to think if this is the best one. It probably is. I used to get crack from this homeless chick when I was living in South Florida. I was living in Hollywood, Florida, right off the tracks of the Dixie Highway. And when I
How
tell
do you
that,
sell crack and be homeless?
where there's a will, there's a way. My
Sure.
man. And I genuinely lived in the hood.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't say when I lived in Mission Hill, Boston, I lived next to a project building, and I did not live in the hood. It's not the hood. Florida, there isn't the hood in Boston.
Sure.
There's some gnarly areas in North Shore, Lawrence, and shit like that, but there isn't the hood in Boston.
I heard Jamaica Plain like 20 years ago was nasty.
20 years ago,
Yeah.
of course. Now it's very nice.
Oh, yeah. It's gentrified as fuck.
Right.
Mattapan now.
Yeah.
Even Mattapan is like, you can kind of just walk through there and just walk straight, and like no one's going to just rob you.
Yeah.
And that's true for most neighborhoods in.
I love when people tell me about ghetto areas here, and I drive
okay.
through them, and I'm like, dude, I grew up in fucking Oakland. There's areas you don't drive through at all.
There's a coffee shop
in a car.
There's a coffee shop called Moon Honey.
Yeah.
In the middle of your gnarly hood.
It's fucking insane to me.
So even most, like outside of the Bronx, most neighborhoods in New York that used to be gnarly are fully gentrified.
Yeah.
East New York is nasty. Brownsville still can be a little fucked up, but like even Brooklyn, like most of the area, like
Bushwick and Bed-Stuy,
right?
Like my buddy owns a bar in Bed-Stuy now,
Exactly.
and it's full of white kids.
Same with Flat, like
Every night.
So, and then the same for the most part in Queens, more and more so now. But so, Florida has hood shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's just different, especially when it's hot. People just like to fuck with guns when it's hot and in a red state.
Yeah.
And so, I used to get crack.
There's also just nothing else to do.
Yeah, it sucks. And if the joke is, if you see someone walking in Florida, they're poor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you're going to have at least like a beat up Chevy or something.
Yeah.
It's so hot outside. The first thing you do is get a car.
Mm-hmm.
Mad broke people have cars.
Yeah.
If you're walking someone, you're fucking hood as shit.
Yeah. You got the sunken eyes and the underbite.
It's not good.
Ding, dang, dang.
Yes. You're just outside. So I get cracked from this one homeless lady, and she sets me up to get robbed, where I open the door. I looked in the thing, and there's like a dude there, and she's like, "This is the guy." I was like, "I thought you were the guy." She's like, "No, this is the guy." And I was like, "Okay." And I opened the door, and like 3 people walk into my apartment.
Uh-huh.
And I like should have seen it come from my way, but I just want to get fucked up. And so I'm sitting on my bed, like waiting for this to happen. They're like, "Can we use your phone?" I was like, "No, like let's just sell me crack." And they're like, all right, this dude jumps on me and holds like a knife to my throat.
Yeah.
They start to clean out the place. They get the TV, laptop. I think he stole my passport. It was like
Holy
bad.
shit.
Yeah, it was bad. And I'm like all fucked up. I'm like mortified. I'm traumatized. I'm like, oh my God, like this is so crazy.
They didn't fuck you up, though.
No.
Well, that's good.
And on the way out, the girl was like, "I'm sorry." And so I call the cops. They show up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And they're like, "So what happened?" And I pretty much told the story verbatim except for the part where they were selling me crack.
Uh-huh.
And so they're like, "And you didn't like really like know these people?" And they're like, "I kind of did." Just like whatever, just trying to like see something. And they're like, "Okay, well, so what's this?" And I don't know if it was some kind of consolation prize or it was because she felt bad or what it was, but that lady left a 50 bag of crack on my counter that I hadn't noticed.
Yeah.
And the cops just showed up to my place.
She was like, "You hold on to this, sweetheart. We're going to get a whole lot more with all of your shit."
Dude. So they take the crack and they're like, "Listen, here's the deal. Like, we're not going to arrest you. You've had a bad... Like, we believe you've been robbed.
Yeah.
But just know that we're not going to, like, bend over backwards figuring this out for you." Like... And I was like, "Okay, that's fair." They took the crack. But
Is it? I mean, is it fair?
Oh, they took it. You did. Oh, I thought you kept it.
No, because they found it. The cops found. I didn't even know it was there. I didn't go examining for crack bags after getting robbed with a
Dude,
knife.
that's so
in my throat.
fucking crazy.
I didn't start fucking playing like Nintendo on the ground.
You weren't pilfering?
No pilfering was happening because I hadn't smoked any crack. I hadn't smoked any crack yet. I wish I had that fucking bag of crack. My night would have gone way better.
Yeah. I love that in between, it, like in the midst of you getting robbed, you were just like, "Can't you guys just sell me the crack?
Dude.
Just do the thing you came here to do."
That was a good one.
It'd be so much more cool.
Oh, you know what's a way better story actually than that? I realized that story was kind of sad. At that same, I was living in a studio apartment in this like strip mall style thing, super gnarly. Everyone in there was all fucked up, and there's this dude. What was his name? He called himself something like some really like hood crack name. He was this like black dude, and he called himself Freeze. Or some shit like
there
that.
It is.
Like some real cracky ass name. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he would hook me up with like this good fucking like yellow crack that looked like Parmesan cheese.
Butter.
You know what I'm talking
Called
about?
it butter.
Yeah, it had the holes in it sometimes.
Oh
That's
my
right.
God.
It looked like Swiss cheese. And
I like, as much as I think about it, I'm like, it'd be a cool experience. I'm like, I'm so glad this is not a part of my life.
oh dude, it's
I'm so fucking glad.
so our buddy Phil, who
The man.
is the man and like is really put together when it comes. He's like very cautious and on top of his shit when it comes to drugs and alcohol. But every now and then he'll just go on a little crack run.
Yeah.
He likes crack, and I can't. That's all. He's somehow figured out a way that every now and then he'll just smoke crack for 3 days.
Do you remember?
and have the rest of his
Did
shit
you ever
figured
watch
out.
Californication?
Yeah.
Yeah, with his agent
Yes.
every once in a while would just get
Go
champagne
off, yeah.
and crab with his wife and
Yeah.
do a buttload of fucking cocaine all night
Yes,
and
that's
fuck.
this kid.
That's so great.
That's this kid. And we invited this guy Freeze over to sell us some crack. And he was like, and Freeze was like, I like your friend.
You put your teeth back in your mouth, Freeze.
And I was like, all right. And he goes, why don't you ask him if let me fuck him? And I was
Or you like, let's wait until he smokes the crack.
and I was like, Freeze, I don't know. I'm just not gonna do that. And he was like, just ask him. And he goes, I'll make it like I'll take care of him.
I'll make it nice. I'll make it nice.
I'll take care of him. So I'll give you crack money. And I was for some reason trying to have a rational conversation with a man named Freeze. And I go, Freeze, like it's not cool that you're asking me this right now.
Yeah.
And I don't need to ask him because I know the answer. And he's like, just ask, man.
Yeah.
I was like, and he just kept asking. And he would say stuff like, it was like I have a movie. He'd be like, how much for his butt? He's trying to like negotiate with me. And then I was like, Freeze, why do you think I'm the guy? Like,
Yeah.
This is my friend.
I'm just gonna hoe out my friend to you.
Yeah, I mean, like there's a combination.
much-
What if you said yes and
Yeah,
didn't
how much-
tell Phil and you just like walked up and
Wow.
grabbed him by the hands like we're going, baby.
Or it's like it's like
Oh no, he's 100% into it.
or it's like a studio apartment. So I'm like, I'm just gonna like go get groceries or something. You guys get to know each other. You know
So
what I mean? Like,
let's just spitball some figures here. If you were to do it, what would you say?
How much would you
Phil
sell
the
Phil
man's
for?
mouth and ass were worth?
Phil is pretty homophobic, so I don't know if you would.
And also,
This is hypothetical.
He's
We're
an
not
Italian.
actually going to
He's-
sell his
he's-
mouth.
He's Italian. Well,
I like him already.
I don't know how much I would. What? Because the thing is, the problem is that prostitution is relatively cheap.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So is crack though.
Right. Your going rate for some whore is like $200 to $300 in this country.
Yeah.
Then a really high end escort's like $800 to $1,200.
Yeah.
And then the ones that charge more than that, it's just bullshit. They got lucky with social media. They get flown out places by rappers and shit. That's a different thing completely. They're not representative of the hooking game.
Sure.
I would imagine that gay prostitutes command a higher fare. Assuming he was a prostitute and there had to be a number,
Here we go.
I would sell Phil for $1,000.
Boom. You heard it here, folks.
Phil would need a $200 tip.
I would tell him,
Dollar fills.
I would tell Phil that I sold him for $700
And then I would
and
keep
that
three.
he keeps $5.
Sure.
So we're going down the middle, but he thinks he's getting the most of his money.
It's mighty white of you.
It's mighty white of me, dude.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, shit.
All right. We're going to wrap on that.
Yeah, we gotta.
I feel like that's a really good place to stop. Do you want to let's plug everything? Definitely the sketch show. Definitely your
TV sketch show on all socials. The first episode's releasing on YouTube January 3rd. Please go check that out. It's really funny. And then if you want to follow me specifically, I post clips on my Instagram all the time. There's good stuff. nat.comedian on Instagram. But really the big thing is TV sketch show. And if you want to follow me, nat.comedian.
bam.
That's it.
Damn.
Fuck
Thanks,
yeah.
man.
Nick?
Nicholas Apaglia on all social medias is Nick Fitzwell. Check out Drinking Coffee with Nick on YouTube. Subscribe, share. all that jazz.
We got an ep coming out.
Yeah, we do. Me and Chad got an episode coming out.
Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah.
It'll be great.
Have
All right.
fun.
Thank you guys for hanging out. That was Cultivator of Weird with the one and only amazing Nat Rogachevsky. Thanks for
John.
being here, brother.
Thanks for having
All
me,
right,
man.
bro. Hell yeah. That was awesome.
See ya.